And I thought it was
Very kind to say
amazing that you
Thank you.
did that.
Man, that is, whew, that is some hilarious late night comedy. I am so glad these people were in charge of us. Joining me now is JD Vance. He's a candidate for the United States Senate in the critical state of Ohio, where yours truly was born. JD, I'm mad about them destroying comedy. But beyond media and everything else, there's nothing these people can't wreck, man. They just wreck everything. It sucks.
Yeah, if there's anything late night comic shows really cared about, it was class, right? I mean, my God, like the idea that Jimmy Fallon is basically whining to the President of the United States about bringing class back. Like these people, like you said, they used to be funny. And I mean, this is one of the biggest things about political correctness. I mean, obviously, I worry most about people getting fired because they have the wrong views. But like, we used to live in a funny country. We used to live in a pretty country. Now it's ugly. We used to live in a country where things actually functioned on time, where people treated one another with respect, and it's just all gone to hell. It feels like the last 5, 10, 15 years.
JD, I'm glad you said last 5, 10, 15 years, because one of the things I have trouble wrapping my mind around is I feel like this just started yesterday. I mean, I was born in 1981. I feel like life was just like you described. It was good and fun and it was vibrant, and then just boom, now all of a sudden men can become women and up is down. And how did it happen so fast? Why did it happen so fast?
Man, this is a philosophical conversation I have with myself and with others all the time. I mean, look, I something about about President Trump either revealed these people, they were always crazy, and he just revealed it, or maybe he broke their brains. I actually tend to think that they were always just this insane, but we didn't quite realize it. But now that the cat is out of the bag, it's just like they won't let you think anything normal without making a huge deal out of it. And this is really what, to me, the left is about. Like, it's not about, like all these political debates we had 15 or 20 years ago, high taxes, low taxes, more regulation, less regulation. It's like, are you allowed to think what a normal person thought 5 years ago in this country? If you are, you're basically on the right. And if you think that you should be punished or kicked out of polite society for just having a normal opinion, then you're now on the left.
It is crazy how fast it happened. All right, now let's talk about working class people, which I know you're familiar with, being from Ohio. Inflation at 6.8%. I know that doesn't affect Joe Biden. I know it doesn't affect any news anchors at CNN. But the average person who works paycheck to paycheck, as I have most of my life, cannot afford a 6.8% reduction in pay, which is essentially what this is. And there's no sign it's getting any better, brother.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you're one of the people who originally pointed out, it's hard to stop the economy. You can't just restart it. But one of the things that it just really worries me about this in the state of Ohio is you've got a ton of grandparents taking care of grandkids. And I was raised by my grandparents because the opioid problem has orphaned hundreds of thousands of children all across our country. And, you talk about inflation for you and me. Then talk about inflation for a senior living on a fixed income, raising a grandbaby they didn't expect to raise. And this is hitting the best people in our society in the absolute worst way. You hear this all the time. Inflation is a tax on the middle class. It's a tax on savers. It's a tax on people who have made the right decisions. And I got to be honest with you. I think that Biden knows that these people are being penalized, or at least, Kamala Harris, whoever's, pulling the strings behind Biden. And I think they like it. I think that they feel a certain sense of superiority and maybe even a little bit of revenge towards a lot of the working class folks who didn't vote the right way in the last election. So now they're going to get punished. The President of the United States is going to punish them. And that's the attitude these people have.
That is sick. I'm glad you brought up the opioid problem. JD, unpack this for me. We have fentanyl. We know it comes from China. We know they're shipping it into Mexico and Central America, and cartels are trafficking it across the border, where it is, as you pointed out, killing Americans by the dozen at this point in time. How are we so broken as a nation we can't go to the source of this, China, and say, stop or else?
Well, because our leaders are weak. And if we went to the Chinese and said stop or else, what they would say is, well, who's going to make us? Is it the general that worries about white rage instead of winning the war in Afghanistan? Is it the general, and this literally happened a couple of weeks ago, a general complaining about the fingernail policy of the U.S. military? We used to be led by people like General George S. Patton. Now we're led by people who complain about the fingernail policy. That's why the Chinese don't listen to us, because they think that we're a weak country. And of course, we are led by weak people. And that's that. Like, unless you fix that problem, you're not going to have any real soft power, any diplomatic power for this country, so long as we're led by complete idiots and weaklings.
Amen. All right, well, this one's near and dear to my heart, JD. As I said, I was born in Ohio, Steubenville, Ohio, and grew up a Buckeye fan. I used to actually sadly cry in my bed after we lost to Michigan as a child. And now I look at Ohio State, they're paying 132 people for diversity and equity-related jobs at an average salary of $77,000 a year, but not just to call out Ohio State. JD, this is something that has infected the military, has infected the corporate world. I mean, it's practically taken over the corporate world. Yep. Please tell me at some point sanity will return and realize equity is an evil word.
Yeah, I mean, look, the amount they're spending on those diversity staff would equal about a tuition for about 1,100 kids. Think about all the working class kids across Ohio who'd like to go to college, but now these diversity people have, one, taken resources away from them, and on the other hand, made it the sort of place where unless you mouth the equity stuff, right, unless you disavow your whiteness and your white privilege, you can't even have a good college education and a college experience there. So they've sort of ruined it on both sides of it. Man, I don't think that these people are going to respond to anything other than raw power. I think that we need to actually make it hurt for people to force this stuff down our throats. If you're a teacher who's teaching your 11-year-old children that they're evil or good based on the color of their skin, you should lose your job. There should not be 1,100 tuition worth of people at Ohio State forcing diversity and equity down the throats of Ohio State students. If you're a corporation and you force your employees to sit through a diversity seminar where you basically make them feel that they're bad people based on the color of their skin, they should be able to face or put you through a hostile work environment suit. So we actually have to give people the tools to fight back against this stuff. It's one of the reasons that I'm running for Senate is because so many of our politicians have watched this country go to hell over the last generation, but they haven't given the people any ability to really fight back against this stuff. And I hate to say, these people are not going to respond to complaining from people like me. They're gonna respond to when it hurts them in the pocketbook, when they force this diversity crap down the throats of American people.